it's been about a year since we saw you fight last. What has been this 11, 12 months been like getting back in the gym, getting back ready for your next fight?
Well, yeah, after my last fight, I had a broken fibular head, so there was a little bit of recovery time for that, and then just kind of getting back into the swing of training, adjusting some personal things in my life to where I could train more full time. So instead of having to, train in the morning, go and work a 8-hour work day, and then go back to the gym, now I get to pretty much fight and train full time. I get to be active and rest in between my training sessions. So that's been a big game changer. So just a lot of adjustments to be optimal for being a full-time fighter and taking my career to the next level.
And was that kind of a scary jump to make? Because, it's going to benefit you as a fighter, but, financially, other certain types of things, it might be a little scary at times.
Yeah, the past, if I'm gonna be honest, the past 3 fight camps, because I was supposed to fight at the UFL 2. So, that was a whole thing in itself as well, as far as the time off goes. But as far as my past 3 training camps, I've had my bank account hit the lowest it's ever hit before, but that's because I fully committed to one, the time and not working full time. And then 2, making sure if I need something as far as recovery goes, if I need to, purchase anything or whatever, not hesitating. If I need to take care of anything medically, not being scared to go to the doctor and take care of things. Like, let me just prioritize my health, prioritize my training, and making sure everything goes as smoothly as possible. But yeah, it's been scary having my bank account go as low as it has, but everything has seemed to just kind of work out perfectly as far as finances go, where, I'll be, scared it'll be pretty low, and then, something I'll either a sponsor will come through, or I'll get like a little side gig to make ends meet. So things have been working out kind of just as they need to. So I think just having that full faith and trust in the process, and just knowing that if I bet on myself every time, it'll work out on its own.
Yeah, and I hate to ask a certain question like that, but the only reason I bring it up is I'm in the same exact boat as you, man. There's not much money in this media right now. I'm like the same age as you. And, it can be scary at times, but like you said, you just got to bet on yourself and know that in a couple of years, it's all going to be worth it. So congratulations on making that move and just taking the next step.
Thank you. And props to you too for doing the same thing, man.
Right. And so, was there any type of thought about potentially changing your gym after that last loss? Because I know you don't want to leave the people behind you and they put so much into you, but there is, advantages and disadvantages to moving to one of those gyms that has so many high level fighters.
Yeah, that thought's never crossed my mind. I mean, I've early on when I was coming up in martial arts, I've went and cross trained at a lot of places. And I think the best thing for me, at least, was just finding a gym that I'm comfortable with. I have a full understanding with the coaches and my teammates. We all have the same vision, and not being one of those guys that gets lost in the numbers that could potentially happen at one of those big gyms. So no, I mean, honestly, right after my last loss, I knew what I needed to work on. I knew that there are certain things that we didn't have or didn't necessarily keep in mind for preparation for that fight. So it wasn't a factor of, hey, let me think about changing gyms. It was a factor of, hey, let me have a conversation with my coach, see what adjustments that we can make in camp. And I've always had good, clear communication between me and my coaches and my team. So yeah, that was no issue. We talked about it literally the same day, the night of the fight. We made the adjustments necessary when I was able to come back and be healthy to train, and everything's been working out since. So yeah, as far as switching teams, switching camps, never crossed my mind. I have full belief in my team. I have full belief in my coaches, and I have full belief in myself. And anything that we need to adjust or get done, it just comes terms of having that conversation and then getting it done. So.
And so the last fight doesn't work out, but now you have this massive opportunity with the UFL. Everyone's kind of heard the health insurance, taking care of the fighters, but when it comes down to the, reading in the contract and everything that you associate with them, what are the exact details behind this? Like, what needs to be done for you to be covered? If you leave the promotion, do you still get everything? How does this all work out?
As far as the details of the contract, I don't know if I could fully disclose
I'm just saying,
everything.
just for like the health insurance, like how they're saying, you get the health insurance. How does that work out for you exactly?
Oh yeah, no. So basically, I have health insurance under the organization that Harrison Rogers. He has a bunch of other companies, and I think it falls under the same umbrella as his other companies, like the health insurance that he's already had for his employees
Okay.
for his other companies. So I know his health. I know his insurance bill for his companies have gone up because now he's encompassing MMA fighters, which I'm sure. I know he's talked about that on his podcast before, but no, yeah. Basically, in a typical situation with any other fight promotion, there's event coverage, which means if you get hurt during the event, you have to claim whatever your injuries are that night to the doctors and to the staff, and then you get covered. Whereas UFL is different, is obviously we have the event coverage as typical promotions do, but on top of that, we also have like basically employee health coverage throughout the year or throughout the terms of your contract. It may be different because some people have a contract that's for the like Grand Prix, like the tournament fighters, and there's people that are on signed with the UFL as far as like they do individual fights. So I don't know if there's any differences there, but no, I have insurance with the UFL that's covered. I've already used the insurance. Probably my first couple months, I had a string of staph infections in my leg that was going on for 3 months that I needed to use, and amongst other things. So no, it's already came into effect pretty much right when I signed that initial contract with them. So before, I mean, I haven't even fought with them, but as soon as I got that contract, I think it was like a month later, it took into effect, and I've already been able to utilize it. So no, it's something that's already helped me out big time, and I'm sure it's helped a lot of other fighters.
Yeah, and I've heard so many stories about fighters who on the regional scene, they'll break a bone or something like that, and they'll go through with the fight so they can use that promotion's insurance and say it happened in the fight. Has that something you've ever done before?
Well, people shouldn't disclose whether they do that, because I'm pretty sure that it's some kind of violation or some kind of fraud of some sort. So yeah, no, I wouldn't disclose that if I were a fighter. No.
And so when it comes to your upcoming fight, Justin Wetzell, what do you think about your opponent? And now that do you still film study a lot on your opponents, or is it more just focusing on yourself at the moment?
I mean, I've taken more. I used to never really look too much into my opponents. I still don't. I never like to harp on who I'm fighting. But I'm doing my due diligence. I'm making sure I take a look at the tapes and just look out for key things. I still have the same belief of like, okay, when you do film study, always expect that the other fighter is going to come in better. So, you can't take everything in the film as what that fight's going to look like. But there's always key things to look out for. There's always habits that are going to be hard to break, and tendencies that fighters have. So, yeah, I've definitely took a look at Justin. He's kind of has the same, he's got a very similar look on how he looks on each fight. Yeah, I've done my due diligence. Nothing that's going to surprise me, I don't think. Yeah, I don't really have any thoughts. I think I'm a better martial artist than him. It's whether or not if I can go in there and implement what I want to implement and impose my will on him, that's going to be the key factor in this fight.
And now, not going into any like details or game plan, but like what does make him a dangerous fighter?
I would say it seems like he's got a good gas tank, and he's got good forward pressure, and he's pretty relentless. So you got to show up in shape when you fight someone like him. And I think you just have to be very active and make him pay when he wants to go for those takedowns, when he wants to grind you out, make him uncomfortable in those situations. And that's exactly what I plan to do in this fight coming up. Is if he tries to implement his game plan, I'm going to make it very resistant for him. He's not going to want to keep implementing his game plan, and he's going to meet resistance every step of the way. So.
And so on the contrary, outside of like your skills and how dominant you could be, what makes him beatable?
I would say just his style as a fighter, I see. I mean, he's gotten finished before. So I feel like I could touch him up. I could potentially knock him out. I haven't seen too many people throw up submission attempts at him. So let's test out his jiu-jitsu. Let's see if he could defend my jiu-jitsu. I know it's something that I haven't really showcased in my fights, especially more recently. I have so in my amateur career, but that was a long, long time ago, and I'm a completely different fighter and especially grappler since then. So I think my jiu-jitsu may surprise him if we end up on the ground. And we'll get to test it to see if he's got good submission defense, see if he's got good sweep defense. So yeah, I don't know how his grappling looks like in that department, but we're going to test it.
And so, I know you're locked in for this fight, but just a general understanding of your future. Is the plan still, get a couple wins, sign with another one of these top tier promotions, or do you see a future with the UFL?
I definitely see a future with the UFL. I know they have big plans for their future. Obviously, they're a new company. I do wish them 100% the best. I'm there to support them all the way. So yeah, if they continue forward with their plans, like I know they want to do their own $1 million tournament, things like that. So of course, I'd be interested in taking part of that after I win this Grand Prix. So yeah, that's something, it depends on what UFL holds in store. They're a group of people and a type of promotion that I want to keep supporting. So yeah, as long as they are continued on that game plan, that track, I would love to keep supporting them, but I also have to look out for myself. And so does my manager, my coaches as well. So after I'm done with this Grand Prix, obviously we'll get back together with my team, see what the best option is for me after that. But personally, if I were to say something, I do want to keep supporting the UFL, whether I fight for them or not. They seem like good people.
And so, with your experience thus far as a fighter, how does a promotion separate themselves from, to get that label of, oh, they're a regional promotion, oh, they're a top tier? How do you go to that next level? Is it based on talent? Is it based on how much money's going in? Like, how do they separate themselves?
I'm sorry, can you say that question one more time?
Yeah, just, when it comes to like promotions and like LFA, they're considered a regional promotion, but they have a lot of talent. They put on a lot of good shows. How does a promotion separate themselves from a regional and step into that top tier promotion with one championship, PFL, the UFC, Bellator?
Well, I mean, I guess a few key differences you could say between a regional promotion and a top tier promotion would be like the how would you say sorry, I'm stumbling my words right now. Basically, if they're fighting internationally, so if they have events all over the world, the amount of fighters, or basically the different regions that they have, like UFC, they have fighters from all over the world. One FC, they have fighters from all over the world. Bellator, people from all over the world. LFA typically has fighters from that region. If they do a show in a certain area, they'll pick up most fighters from that area, and they'll have like some guys that'll fly in from maybe Brazil or Canada or something like that, but not too many international fighters would be on that card. I guess it would just be the pool of talent of who they have access to, I guess you would say, and obviously the the notoriety, the level of talent as well. If they're more of a top prospect type of fighter, not saying that LFA or CFFC or any of these regional promotions don't have it, but those are the guys normally fighting, for the titles and stuff like that. They're about to ascend to those international promotions.
It's the last question I have for you. Rampage Jackson, Frank Mir, they're obviously very involved with the UFL. Have you had an opportunity to talk to them, just kind of get any type of advice and, just learn from all their experiences in the past?
Yeah, I've had some short conversations with them. One, it seems, they're really cool people. Obviously, they are fighters themselves, and they seem for the fighters, so they definitely like to take on that role that they want to guide fighters to the right path. It seems like that they wish they would have took, or things that they wish they would have done as they came up, and they're trying to create that future for other fighters. And so when you have these conversations with them, it sounds like they come from a good place. Rampage, he's got his own son fighting in the promotion. I know Frank Mir, he's wanting to have his daughter fight in the promotion as well. So that's kind of how you know that these people really are backing up the promotion, when they have their own children that they want to support and see them succeed in this own promotion as well. So I feel like that's kind of almost how they treat the rest of the fighters in the promotions. Like it's almost like they're treating it like they're their own kids, like they're giving the advice to their own children and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool to get some advice from them. Rampage was telling me a lot about recovery, which is something that I've been stubborn about my whole career. I've had to get back surgery when I was 22. I've had a lot of injuries just from training for so long and things like that. And so I think it's really important for me to hear when someone like Rampage talks to me about recovery and making sure that, hey, just because, I was supposed to fight for UFL 2, the advice he gave me was like, hey, I know you didn't fight, but make sure you take a week or two off of training because you did go through a fight camp. So just give your body some time to rest before you get ready and get prepared for UFL 3. So that's something I slowed it down. I didn't take the full week or two off, but I slowed it down probably more than I would normally have. And I think that was definitely some good advice. So.
And that's all I have for you today, man. Once again, I do really appreciate your time. Hope for all the best in your next fight and the rest of your career. I can't wait to see you get in there.
Awesome, Jake. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. Can't wait to put on a good show for UFL 3.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too, man. See ya.